Hi Rasini, welcome to the session Chat with Nusra. I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Nusra. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Journey of you had been very diverse, right? Spanning roles as a visiting lecturer, international wellbeing consultant, and also psychologist. That is reflecting a genuine commitment to the well-being of others. It is very clear that your heart touches not only the minds but also the lives of those you engage with. So before we dive into the questions, could you please take a moment to introduce yourself and share a bit about your background?
Right. So I think you said pretty much everything, Nusra, to be very honest. So currently, if I say my background, all my education, my higher education has been around the subject of psychology, which of course I never had the intention of becoming a psychologist earlier. I wanted to become a gynecologist. But then, a lot of things happened down the line during, this journey so far. And it actually changed my direction into, following this particular path. And I'm very happy about it. So at the moment, like you mentioned, I work for the International Transport Federation as the International Wellbeing Consultant. I work as a mental health care professional and a psychologist for Mind Heals Private Limited. And at the same time, I work as a public speaking and a personality building coach, a visiting senior lecturer also. But more than all of those things put together, my biggest passion is working with children, school children, and university students, because I personally believe that is where you can create a 360-degree change in someone's mindset. So yeah, that's where I am if I introduce. But as a person, as a human being, I would say someone who wants to enjoy every moment and acknowledge every moment in their lives is a way that I kind of live. Yes.
Yes, Rasini, it was quite interesting because school is the place that we have to change, right? So you're working very closely with the students. It's really interesting. Given your extensive experience in mental health care and your current role as the international wellbeing consultant for the International Transport Federation, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
what strategies do you find most effective in promoting mental health and well-being in an international context, like considering the diverse challenges that individuals may encounter?
I think in order to get this message across, Nusra, that mental health or mental well-being is very important, I think you need to really embrace that that human factor in individuals. I think more than, for me, I personally believe more than throwing theory at people, it's very good to bring life to people. And at the same time, I think it's also about helping people to embrace their vulnerabilities also, because we always say that resilience starts building up the moment you embrace your vulnerabilities. So in order to do such thing, I think it's very important to put a lot of importance into the fact of us being human. And that's absolutely fine that certain things we experience and we go through, giving validation to your emotions and behavior also, because we all make human errors, we do all these things. So first thing is that acceptance is highly essential. And at the same time, something that I personally experienced is that when you work with people in an international context, it's always like they appreciate the fact if you go to them with life, if you do, I mean, rather than, yes, we know all these techniques, there are fancy words and this and that, but I think keeping that human element as the core element, I think that has, I think, helped me. And at the same time, that should be the future trend also in terms of working with people. Yes.
Exactly, Rasni. Humans are not perfect. Not me, not you, and everyone tend to make mistakes. So acceptance is something that's very important. Being natural is what you meant, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I would always keep let's say, for example, my set of vulnerability is also in front of people. I think maintaining that transparency with individuals, that even as mental health care professionals, we also go through problems. And to acknowledge those things, I think that is the way forward in the future, Nusra, to be very honest.
Transparency is very important in personal and professional life. Let's move on to the next question, Rasini. You have been working with organizations like Hema's Consumer Brands and Nation Trust Bank, and like you have been doing a couple of workshops, right? So in that, you had highlighted the importance of prioritizing well-being. So how do you believe this emphasis on well-being, especially through the programs and workshops that you conducted, contributes to the growth and empowerment of women in the workplace? Can you share some example or insights from your sessions had a meaningful impact on women's maybe professional or personal development?
Right. So I'm one such mental health care professional, Nusra, who's been invited, for most Women's Day programs, and where I have spoken regarding the well-being of men. So I must tell you that we exercise a lot of importance to this gender factor. But like I told you earlier, as we started, I think more than anything, more than giving importance to a certain gender, I think it's always very important you start from the very basic, and that we are all human beings.
Yes.
And as human beings, yes, we are, when it comes to the gender factor, yes, we express emotions and things in very different ways. But that doesn't mean the struggle of certain individuals are lesser compared to the struggle of the other gender. We all struggle. I mean, to be very honest, there are a lot of men who go through domestic violence also. There's a lot of men who go through abuse also. There are a lot of men who go through very toxic relationships also. So it's about giving that validation. I think when you really put importance into that human factor, then of course it gives space for people, a very secure and a very comforting kind of a space for people to really open up regarding their struggles. So that is why we only see women coming forward with certain issues, but men are staying back. They are having a very laid back kind of an approach when it comes to difficult situations or facing emotionally challenging situations. So we never see that side. So therefore, it's highly important that we acknowledge that side also. I mean, just imagine if people started treating individuals as human beings and not giving importance to gender factor, I'm sure that you can see that in every workplace, both the genders, they go through issues.
Yeah.
Both the genders sometimes face discrimination. Both the genders have orientation issues. So such things are highly essential. And what I'm mostly through these organizations, I'm very happy to say that that there is a big trend towards acknowledging the importance of well-being. I say well-being because, when you talk about the definition of health according to WHO, that speaks about your physical well-being, your mental well-being, and then your social well-being. So all these three elements are highly important. And then social well-being, your workplace is a part of your social well-being. So that I'm very happy to say that a lot of organizations, startup organizations, and at the same time, massive giants, they're very much focused on this well-being element now. And they realize that it's how important it is to keep their people happy. So it's such a good trend. I mean, I must say that this fact is very important because we have a lot of awareness, but do we have the right kind of awareness is always a problem again. So organizations prioritizing in giving their people the right kind of awareness about these things, I think it's a very good thing that we are seeing nowadays. And when it regards to problems and whatever you name it, empowerment or anything, I think that factor should be for humanity, because in a world that we are talking about women empowerment, we have about 80% of men dying from suicide.
Yes.
So this is not something, so there's clearly a problem there. So that doesn't mean from tomorrow we start empowering the men. But it means that if there's something we need empowerment, we can see even in the world that we need empowerment of humanity, nothing else.
Exactly, you're correct. At times, men, they don't come up with, they'll be like, you're a man, you can't cry, because of the questions that's some common questions, right? Like, as far as I know. So because of that, the men, they're not opening up. So whatever the value, we should never be gender biased.
Well-being is for humans. Well-being is not for a particular gender.
Let's move on to the next question here. You are a visiting lecturer and also a psychologist, so giving you a unique insights into the mental well-being of, this question is also women, but you can, we can talk commonly, I guess. Yeah. In your observation, what areas do you still see lacking in terms of the overall mental health support, and why? And on the flip side, how have you witnessed the evolution in addressing these challenges? Like, can you share a moment or story, giving a journey of some individual?
Okay, so coming to the first question, I would say that certain areas where I feel that there should be more awareness is still that I think, Nusra, this could be because of our culture and our values also, that we have very less conversation about suicide. Because there's a big cultural, religious taboo as well. I would say in any religion that we practice here in Sri Lanka. If you take the Sri Lankan context, then whether you're a Buddhist, whether you follow Islam, whether you follow Christianity or Catholicism, it's considered as something really bad. So then, people are not very open about having conversations regarding this topic. So then it's something that suicide is something that it doesn't discriminate anyone. It can happen to anybody. And in Sri Lanka, the youngest age of someone dying from suicide is actually age 8, young as age 8. So then such things, I think we have a long way to go. There are so many individuals in Sri Lanka who are very passionately working towards this. And I think that is something that we still have a long journey to go. So need improvement in having very healthy conversations about this topic. And that's something I feel. And also I would say, like I told you, there's a lot of awareness. And when you speak to youngsters nowadays, like everybody's depressed. Like when you ask them, oh, I'm so depressed, it's something they would always say. But then I think the right kind of awareness about these conditions also, they are not just terms, because they are very heavy terms. So having knowledge about this, the right kind of knowledge about it, and at the same time to know that sometimes such things should be diagnosed by particular individuals, not Google. I think such open conversations are highly essential for us as individuals. When you talk about journeys of people, I think so far in my life, I've met so many individuals in Nusra, to be very honest. And I always say this, that I learn from all my clients, all the people that I've seen. I think that all their journeys are very special and very, very unique as well. I always tell this to people that, we all have a custom made hell for us. And it's not someone else's. Just like, our life is very different. I tell this to my students that, you all are blessed that you get the same exam paper, everyone, but the bad news is we don't get the same life paper. It's very unique from person to person. So I would say that I personally grow with every story that I get to hear. I'm genuinely interested about people. And I think everyone's journey teaches you something. I tell this to my students and my clients mostly, that what you go through in life is going to be someone else's survival guide tomorrow.
Exactly.
So everyone's journey is very special. So it's very hard to pick a person's journey and say. I would say that out of many journeys that I've read and come across, I'm very inspired by the journey of Nelson Mandela. I don't know him personally, I wished. But whenever I feel very low in life, I always read a page or two from his book, Long Walk to Freedom. and then I'm back again in my zone. So I would say, yeah, that's something that has inspired me. But other than that, I would say everyone's journey, every client, every individual, every child I have met in life so far, I think everyone has that very custom made, very, very special journey.
Exactly. Everyone's life journey is unique and everyone have a different story. I think you're a great psychologist.
So blessed. Alhamdulillah. Very blessed to hear.
You have been doing coaching, public speaking, and personal development at Vishaka Vidyalaya. Okay, that's really inspiring. So there's a quote that goes like, "Find your voice and inspire others to find theirs." So in the context of empowering young girls, why do you believe public speaking is a very important tool, and why it's very important for young girls to cultivate public speaking skills? Starting from the school level. Like, how does this early emphasis on self as expression impact their future, both personally and professionally?
So, Nusra, one thing is that other than talking to yourself, everything else is public speaking. And especially like in our countries, and especially in Asia, we are brought up in a way that we are very passive listeners, we are very passive communicators, and we are very passive learners. So in a context like that, it's very difficult to empower such skills in you, because we are always told to shush about certain things, never voice out, never question. So then those things, I would say building up those skills in you is a big challenge always. I would say that I was a very outspoken girl when I was small. My parents, of course, been very empowering, have also faced very difficult, embarrassing situations because of me as well. But later on, I realized that there's a big difference between being outspoken and being a good speaker.
Mm.
And that also has been quite a journey. I think for me, my journey as a public speaker started off in Malaysia when I went to do my higher studies. And I wanted to escape calculus, and I had no other choice other than picking public speaking. And that 3 months I spent in that class of Mr. Siva, who tortured me like big time, completely is like the individual who's responsible for my transformation as a good speaker. But let me tell you this, I think you always need to understand that you have to be very humble about it as well. Because there are only two types of speakers, the nervous ones and the liars. So we are always nervous. I mean, in front of like any new audience, my heart is about to come out of my chest. But then as time goes on, then slowly you get adopted to the, I would say, the crowd. You understand the pulse of the crowd, but it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work. So it's about your language, it's about building your confidence, it's about putting a lot of importance to, let's say, for example, delivering a speech. I mean, I never go in front of a crowd being overconfident, thinking, I do this on daily basis. Come on. That's gonna destroy you as an individual. So it's always about putting a lot of effort and putting a lot of practice. And this is what I'm trying to give individuals also. At Visakha, of course, Visakha is very special because it's my school. It's where my crash course to life I learned. And at the same time, I always tell this, that no stage can intimidate me like that of my school stage. I feel shivering when I get onto that stage. But at the same time, it's something, so I would say, so satisfying to see the growth of these youngsters. I must say that I did a similar program at Zaira College. I would say my little boys, they are in grade 4 and 5, are so special to me. And to see that transformation from being like, they're good speakers, but then, seeing how they go from, they're okay, to being really good at what they do. But still, everybody has a very long journey to go. So my programs are very much custom made because I put in a lot of elements of psychology into that, because even though you go through a lot of, I would say, lecture after lecture regarding public speaking, if you do not push yourself to do certain things, you will never get there. So you need to push yourself, and that push has to also come with a bit of comfort attached to it. So it's custom made, looking at individuals and their unique skills. It's very, I would say, it's very individualistic in terms of grooming them to be very effective speakers, and you need to be such speakers in this world, Nusra, to be very honest. Yes.
Effective communication is very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because communication is everything. Communication, people say communication is the key. Yes, it's true. For whatever it is, whether to solve your problems in life, whether to manage your time, whether to, have very productive relationships, you need communication.
Exactly. Yeah. This is a more personal question, Rasini. As a woman in the field of mental well-being consulting, I'm very curious to know about your personal journey. Like looking back, do you feel that choosing this path has been the right decision for you? So, in what way do you see this role contributing to your, both your own growth and empowerment of other women and men? Like, can you share a life-changing moment or realization that has shaped your perspective? I think you already gave a bit about it at this beginning and middle. Like, I want to know it in more detail. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start like this. I would say, since smaller days, I must say that I'm so blessed in life to be born to two amazing individuals. That's my amma and my appachi, my mother and my father. I don't think I have ever seen two such amazing parents who truly understood a pulse of a child. And my childhood is nothing less than rainbows and unicorns, I would say. And my parents prioritize that factor of happiness in me more than anything. For them, my success was my smile, equivalent to my smile. I still remember my father celebrating me failing mathematics in school. I was in grade 9 at that time, having 25 marks, and he took me out for dinner and said that today we'll celebrate this, because it's equally important that you celebrate success and failures in life. And that is the reason I'm able to take in a lot of failure in a very healthier manner. I won't say in a positive manner, but in a very healthier manner. But at the same time, Nusra, I think, like I told you, I wanted to become a gynecologist in life, but I faced a lot of very difficult circumstances when I was small. In my teenage years, my mother was sick, and being the only child in the family, me and my father had a big struggle. Then after that, I lost my human, my person, my father when I was 18 years old. That, I would say, was one of the biggest downfalls in my life. At the same time, that's one incident that taught me a lot as well, because I had a very flowery picture about human beings also. And his death taught me a lot of things. Something that, most of the life lessons that I follow nowadays, it's actually coming from my parents. My father once told me that look at that light bulb, and you have a lot of insects being attracted to that. Do you see those insects coming when that bulb goes off? And it's a no. So once, when my father passed, I did not see many of the insects or the people that was always around him. And it was a big realization. And something that he always told me is that never lose the human in you, no matter how much the society demands you to. So sometimes even nowadays, I feel like giving 2 cents to certain people, but I always hold on to that fact. They were very instrumental in shaping my life. But my father's death was something that taught me a lot of things. And like I told you, that I'm somebody who enjoy every moment in life. So whereas in a moment where my father wanted me to stay 5 minutes with him, I did not give that 5 minutes to him, and running away from the room, promising that I'll come tomorrow and spend about 15 to 20 minutes with him, sucked the life out of me when he passed away, and I couldn't find that time. So he taught me before Master Ugwe to not to worry too much about the past and to be fearful about the future, but live in the moment. So now, of course, I follow that in life. I always acknowledge and embrace the moments in my life. So after that, I would say it's a very rewarding journey being a psychologist, and especially sometimes when I read a text or two from people saying that I breathe because of you, I sleep well because of you, and it's very rewarding, that that happiness you get out of reading something like that. I would say it's something that you cannot value in life with anything else. To be very honest, Nusra. Uh, but I must say that it's never a regret coming into this field, and I embrace every moment, and I'm looking forward to it as well. Studying psychology, being a psychologist, has also helped me to understand myself, and at the same time it has helped me maybe to be a better mother. I don't know, you should ask it from my children. Better at relationships, and I would say even peace building factor with certain relationships in my life also. I think learning this subject has helped me to respect people as who they are, and acceptance of people as who they are, where I don't go to exercise change onto people to change them the way I want to change them. So I think that has helped me a lot more than I would say the help to others. So yes, it's being very rewarding for me.
Yes, what I was able to understand is like it's good parenting, because good parenting is very important. So the way that you take every moment in your life is because of the good parenting, the advices that you give. So even the failure, celebrating is something that's very important. Like I think that's the most, in commonly in society, that's where parents or anyone is lacking. Like if someone fails, they used to like point it out, not celebrate it. So in that case, I really appreciate your father and sorry for the loss. Yeah.
I think they indeed they left me teaching me a lot of things also.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, my biggest purpose in life is to actually earn merits for my parents. So when I connect to any individual, when I connect to any audience, I always feel their presence with me. So I keep them alive in my mind. I feel that they are within me, and it's more like earning merits for them. So when you have such a purpose in life, that gives you the necessary petrol and diesel to run your body every day. So yeah.
So the next question that I would like to ask with you, Rasini, like in your role as a mental well-being consultant, why do you believe that mental well-being is very important, not just personally, but also in professional terms? And like what advice or tips would you offer to individuals seeking to maintain proper mental well-being?
Nusra, I would say this, that choosing well-being, whether it's, like I said, that all those three elements, it's always a choice. And it should be a very active choice that people make. I very recently saw there was a poster that said that mental health is a right. But I would like to say, more than it being a right, I think it's a choice. Because one should be very accountable in taking care of oneself. For example, let's say we say the oxygen mask theory, where when you're flying, when you're in a plane, in a situation where the cabin pressure goes very low, and then it says that the oxygen mask will fall, help yourself and then help your child or whoever that needs help. So that clearly makes the point that how important it is to look after yourself. So this is not rocket science. This is about doing day-to-day things. This is about doing things that puts a smile to your face. This is about managing your time very effectively. This is about investment, investing your emotions, investing your time proper on people who deserve your attention, your time. It's about being away from toxic individuals who drains your energy. It's about looking after your body. It's about looking after your mind, and it's about looking after your relationships. So whether you say it's for personal growth, whether it's for personal benefit, or whether it's a professional benefit, I think it's the same, because we can never draw that line saying I have my professional life separately and my personal life separately. Of course, what happens in your workplace, you take a little bit of it back home with you. And what happens in your home front, you take it to your workplace also. So it's very important that, when you are very happy as an individual, when you are a productive individual, because mental health also states the fact that you are able to do day-to-day activities, that you become very productive in terms of your career, whether how much you can contribute to the society, and all these factors. So it's a very basic thing. And at the same time, not having an illness is not health.
Mm-hmm.
Health is you looking after all these three elements. So whether you say it's for your personal growth or well-being, whether you say it's your professional well-being, all these factors are highly essential. So that is where I would say this is something that I always advocate. When I even go and speak to professionals, I tell them, look, I'm not here to teach you techniques to be a good manager or a good banker or else, a good professional, but all these things will help you as an individual. That means it's going to help your organization. Yeah. So that's how it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Self-love is very important. So if we are happy, the surrounding ones, of course, we will be happy with others too. Yeah, self-love is very important. Yeah, Rasini. So on a more personal note, how has prioritizing your own mental well-being influenced your life? Like coming up with the previous question too.
I would say a lot, because Nusra, the thing is, like, quite recently there was this suicide which was very popular, which got very popular. This very young boy, very very talented, very smart boy died of suicide in Peradeniya. And Peradeniya is, of course, Peradeniya University, a place very close to my heart. I went there to speak to the first years in the university, and I found out that this particular boy who took his own life was actually advocating. He was an advocate for psychology. He had a YouTube channel where he spoke about depression, where he spoke about anxiety, where he spoke about all these factors. But over there, what I felt, something that he missed, was that even healers need healing.
Yeah.
So we, as mental health care professionals, also need that healing. We deal with a lot of bad news, a lot of negativity. And at the same time, we are also human beings. So it affects us also. We are very warm as people. So when somebody cries, that's why we cry when we watch movies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it speaks to our heart. We can't leave all this. We can't be that 100% professional and say that, look, I'm not letting anything get to me. But it gets to you. And there could be situations also. I mean, for me, it's very difficult when I have to do grief counseling, because I'm also someone who's been through things like that. So it always comes back to me also. I also go through those stages that I went through in my mind as well. So then we need that support. So having self-care, looking after your well-being is highly essential. For me, I really prioritize. I mean, For me, my workout is my therapy. For me, my dancing, that's my therapy. For me, watching one episode of Friends or Schitt's Creek or something, even though I have seen it over and over, is therapy. For me, few moments to myself is therapy. For me, traveling is therapy. For me, my time with my kids, that's therapy. So it's highly essential that we prioritize such things. So we consider those things. I mean, anything that puts a smile to your face, do it, because you truly need it. And we especially we need it also, because people who surprise others also need to be surprised on and off. People who take care of others needs to be taken care as well. So this is not something we can just throw away like that. So as a mental health care professional also, I would say that when we are down with a problem, the psychology that we know flies right out of the window, and we become those typical individuals, typical people with emotional tantrums and everything. We don't see clarity. We lose our wisdom. And at a point like that, we need someone to give that wisdom to us. So that is where I also have a psychologist whom I reach out to. And I truly advocate this for anybody, regardless of your profession. You might be one of the biggest, most amazing crisis manager, problem solver, but you need to be managed as well as an individual. So it's a very humble request from people to please look after yourselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Like as you said, healers also need a healer.
Sure.
Rasini, like I came across this session, like I'm not okay, you're not okay, but that is okay. That in a LinkedIn post, it was very insightful because the discussion on how depression affects individual that caught my attention. So in the context of mental health discussions, like how do you see that when the unique challenges that the overall women and men face dealing with depression?
I'm not okay, you're not okay, but that's okay.
Mhm.
Was actually a quote by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who also spoke about this grief cycle. And this quote, I caught our attention, Nusra, especially when I initially joined Mind Heals, and when suddenly the pandemic happened, and then we wanted to reach out to audiences to speak about the importance of taking care of yourself and your well-being, because we knew bad news is going to come, but it was more like we were going through a big surgery but under anesthesia. We didn't know what was happening, so people were enjoying it also, but then negativity was yet to come, yet to experience. So there only we started. We know that there is something that says it's okay not to be okay, but here what we wanted to especially bring to people is that, look, as a mental health care professional, I'm also not okay, and at this point you're not okay, but that's absolutely okay. So I think that quote really opened a very safe space for people to talk about this, talk about symptoms of depression. Am I having it, or anyone else around my circle? Am I seeing such symptoms? So it's not just about yourself, it's about your children, it's about your parents, it's about your spouse, it's about your friends, and it's about us having our eyes and ears open to see whether, or notice whether, people are going through such things. So I think that quote itself helped us a lot in terms of creating that very safe and a very secure space for people to feel, you know what, it's okay to talk about such things. It's okay to admit that I have such things. And it makes me absolutely normal. In a pandemic situation, if someone says that, you know what, everything is absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm perfectly all right, then of course it's a problem, or something we wanted to bring out there to the audience. So yeah, so that's what it was, Nusra. And to say that, some of the challenges, I would say, again, mental health, that topic itself is quite a big taboo. people don't like to talk about it. We still have a long way to go. So it always comes as a challenge. Especially, again, the generation gap comes as a challenge. Because I also grew up in an environment where nobody nobody would encourage you or empower you to speak about your mental health issues. I'm sure I would have gone through depression. I didn't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I faced like death happening outside and death happening inside of me as well. I was somebody who was highly suicidal in life also. So definitely I was struggling. But I was blessed because I had a good support system. Unfortunately, nowadays, people don't have that sort of a support system. We are a very high tech, but a very less touch society now. So these challenges will always be there. So I think still we have a very long way to go. So I see those things as challenges. But I would say things are changing. The new generation, the Gen Zs are very, I would say they put a lot of importance into this concept of mental health, which I see as fantastic. It's amazing. But again, like I told you, whether we are having the right kind of awareness is also something we need to focus. So I see those things as challenges, Nusra.
Exactly. Yeah. Awareness can be everywhere, but whether it is the right thing, it's that's something that we have to consider. Like as you, I remember that in previous questions, like you were saying, Google surfing is not going to work out. Like you have to get into an individual and you have to know the real thing. Yes.
True, because I have had a lot of clients who tell me that I have this, I have ADHD, I have depression, I have anxiety disorder. And then when I ask, okay, so can you tell me who's the clinical psychologist or the psychiatrist who diagnosed? They say, no, Google said. So, yeah. So I even tell them, look, I can't even come into a proper diagnosis. I also have to go to a clinical psychologist to see whether I have these kind of things. So you can't just say like that. So that's why I say that the right kind of awareness is highly essential.
Exactly, Rasni. Yeah. Giving your extensive experience a role as a director of vocational service vice president at Rotary Club of Colombo Midtown, how do you perceive this interplay between the networking, collaboration, and communication?
So Rotary is a voluntary organization, and I'll be taking my role as president next year for Midtown, and it will be the 50th year for the club. And through Rotary, there's a lot of humanitarian projects that we do. Mm-hmm. Plus, Rotary also gives you the platform, or like you said, the network of not just only Sri Lanka, Nusra, around the world as well, where a lot of people who are very like-minded, who are very passionate to give back to the society. So it's a very rewarding platform to be in. And at the same time, it's where you get to experience people of very diverse industries, very different caliber of individuals, different characteristics, many generations coming together as well. So a lot of people around the globe coming together and having a very common purpose is a wonderful thing to experience. So for me, that journey has been very rewarding. I've been a part of very few very significant projects as well. And at the same time, in the future, planning on taking the importance of well-being, mental well-being, especially to many audiences as well. So we have not just Rotary, there's also Rotractors who are mostly university students and people who just started their work career. And then we have Interactors. So that's another wonderful, a circle where, you have all the school children. So then it's just great, coming together, because we recently also completed a project, Blind Walk. It's a very significant project for us, where individuals put blindfolds and we walk for the blind. And we do a lot of, fund collections and all those things to help the blind community. And such things, I would say, it's very rewarding. And it's always great to see young blood coming together as well. I think when you start off from very smaller days, I really appreciate it and value it. Whether whatever the name you give it, whether it's Rotary, whether it's Lions, whether it's any other organization, we have a lot of names. But I always tell, even recently at an installation, I told them that, look, if you have the intention of giving back to the society, that itself becomes a foundation. Mm-hmm. So then we are blessed when we have a lot of people like-minded who are coming together. So journey in Rotary has been very rewarding. Yes, looking forward to as well.
Yeah, so congratulations. You were saying that you'll be a president next year, so congratulations on that. And
we work.
So and also, like you were saying that, the networking collaboration, like it's all about working with like-minded individuals, so you get to know a lot of things, and everyone are working, like whatever the community is, whether it's a track club or intrack club or anything, the main thing everyone will be focusing is giving to the community. So that's what you guys are working on, right? Yes, Rasini, we wrap up. Considering your experiences, achievements, and the life journey, because you had a very wonderful life journey, if you can distill your insight into one piece of advice, or if you could go back and share a piece of advice with your younger self, what would it be?
Piece of advice for my younger self. Tough one. I have a lot of things to tell. Okay. I would say give value to your time and never be available for people just because it's demanded from you. I think anyone should know. I have been a victim of being available for people who never appreciated my time. So I think time is the most valuable thing you can give to someone, Nusra. So I learned it the hard way, and I think, but that's okay. I mean, I don't have regrets. I think when the lesson hits your heart, I think the more productive that lesson is, more effective that lesson is. But however, I would give that piece of advice for people to give value to your time. That shows a lot of self-respect as well. So, which I realized much later. But one thing, yes, I would give my younger self.
Yeah, so we should value our time.
I truly appreciate the time that people give me, because the time that they give me, they can do a lot of things.
Yes.
So when somebody really appreciates that, that gives you, I would say, not just giving you self-esteem or anything, but it's more like you feel that, you have respect over your time, and your time is respected by the other party as well. So I would always say, never be too available for people. Exactly. And where your time is valued, be there. And such people, let people see. I mean, see, I will wrap up with this story. I will tell it very shortly, Nusra, that once this this boy asked his father, what is the value of my life? And the father gave him a stone and told him that, take this to the market. And if somebody asks you how much, just put 2 fingers like that. So then he took it to the market, and he was there with that stone, with that rock. And then this one lady came, and then she asked, wow, I really like it. How much is it? So he said like that. And she said, oh, $2. Then the boy went home and told the father, look, this lady came and she said, she asked this rock for $2. And he said, okay, now you take it to the museum. Don't say anything, just put 2 fingers if somebody. So he took it to the museum. And then one person came and asked, oh, this is a very precious rock. How much is it? He said like this. And he said, oh, really? It's $200. I'll take it. And then he got very shocked, and he went home and told his father. And then father said that, you take it to a place where they have precious stones. And if somebody asked the price, you just raise 2 fingers. He went there, he took the stone to a very precious stone store. And then somebody came and asked him, and he just raised his fingers. And then they said, okay, I'll take it for $200,000. So then he was really surprised by how much value was given to you. So his father said, it doesn't matter from where you are coming from, whatever that you do, always choose the people who value you. And it's up to you to be selective, to be, whether you want to be there in that market, whether you want to be there in that museum or that particular precious stone. So you have the choice. So select your circle.
Exactly.
People who gives you that value. So I would say yes, and you should be in a place where you are given that value by people.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that was a great piece of advice, Rasini, and putting it in the story format, because that way the message was very clear and concise. So we have to be in a place where we are valued, because if we are not in a place that where we are not valued, we would feel like, okay, like low about ourselves. At times it happens, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So people can make us feel that we are worth $2 and whether we are worth $200 or $200,000, Nusra.
Exactly. So it depends on, also, as you said, we have to be very selective, choosing the right circle, because that is, after all, it is impacting our personal life a lot.
Very true.
Yeah, Rasini, and thank you for joining the session. It was very insightful, and advices that you were sharing, it was really helpful. Like, and also you were emphasizing that the mental well-being, it is not only about your emotional, like social, physical, everything is, everything comes under that. And not to be like, when you consider about the well-being, it's not about only gender, not about only women, even it's important for men. So and the last piece of advice, where stay where you're valued. And and one more important thing that I would like to note is, like, I really appreciate the parenting, because you were saying about your story and that parenting effect that you had in small. So that's what you are here right now, because how much ever the life challenges that you are getting, you're like, yeah, okay, you're handling it smoothly. I would say, like, everyone are having problems, but the way that you're handling it seems to be very strong. So something that I would very appreciate it. Yeah, Rasini, then thank you so much for this session. And once I asked, you were so kind. Like, you were saying that, okay, the way you were responding us, it was very kind. So thank you so much for joining the session, Rasini.
Thank you so much, Nusra, and thank you for again considering me somebody who's valuable, who could come to your show and share a bit of my wisdom. And wishing you also all the very best in whatever that you're doing, and keep shining, keep inspiring, and thank you again. Thank you. I also had a wonderful time being a part of this. Thank you.